Hey everyone, Tracy here with Paper Closet Designs, and today we are going to finish the leaf block, the maple leaf block for our maple leaf runner that we're doing in October. So let me show you the pieces and how we're going to lay it out, and we'll just do it right here. So these are the blocks that we had done earlier. We have our kitty corner block, we have our stem, and then we have our two with the folded corners, 3 pointing to the right and 3 pointing to the left. So in your instructions, it's going to show you exactly how to line these up right down here. And then in the handout, I've given you the numbers or the letters of each block as well. So the first thing we're going to do is lay everything out according to this. So we're going to start with our kitty corner block, and you want to make sure that the skinny edge is pointing up to the top. And ask me how I know that. I've made a mistake or two already. So you can see right here, it's pointing to the top. And then we're going to take two of our edge pieces, or not edge pieces, I keep calling these the wrong thing, folded corner pieces, and you're going to lay them next to each other so they form a V. And then you're going to do the same thing over here so that they also form a V. Just like that. Then we're going to take our solid leaf piece. This is leaf C, and it's 1 2 by 2, and we're going to lay it right there. And then we're going to take one more of the folded corner, and we're going to place it, this one. We're going to place it just like that. Okay? And then we're going to take this folded corner, and we're going to place it down there. I'm hoping you can see all of that. So that's what it should look like so far. There's our instructions again. And then we have our stem, and it's going to go so that this triangle part is right in the corner. And now we have some blank pieces that we need to fill in, and that is where the rest of our background pieces are going to come in. So right next to here, we are going to use background number 1, and it is the 2 by 3.5. I can't grab that. And it's going to lay right there. And then we're going to put another one right here at the bottom. We're going to take another piece that is the 2 by 2. So this is piece, our background 2. And we are going to put it right there in the corner. And then we're going to take one more of the background 1, the 2 by 3.5, and it is going to go right along there. And that is your leaf block, all laid out and ready to sew. Now the next part is we are going to sew it into sections, or section by section. And here's your instructions right here. It says sew each quadrant of the block, pressing as shown. So I'm going to separate these out a little bit. This is our first quadrant right there. So we're going to sew those together. This is our second quadrant. We're going to sew those together. This is the third, and this is the fourth. So we're going to read our instructions, and we're going to sew this piece to our kitty corner. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to actually spin this around. We're going to take this piece, and we're going to line it up right along the edge. So if it was flipped this way, I would flip this over, and we're going to line it up right along there and do a 1/4 inch of seam, and then you're going to press it following the arrows. So we're going to press it towards this skinnier piece. So let me go do that, and then I'll be right back. All right, so there is that piece, and it is pressed towards the smaller piece. I am going to spin this back because I think that's a little confusing. We'll just move it over. So next, we're working on this piece still. We're going to sew the solid piece to this folded corner piece, And this time we're going to press it towards the longer piece. So again, I will be right back. Okay, there's that piece, and the seam is pressed towards the larger piece. So now we're going to line these up and we're going to sew these together. So I'm going to bring this down here, I'm going to flip this over, and we are going to nest it where those two seams come together. And then we will press this one towards the smaller piece again. And this one I would definitely put some pins in, especially on that seam, so that everything will line up just the way it's supposed to. And there is that one. Seam is pressed down, and my corners match up pretty darn good. I will tell you that I would suggest getting a clapper and using that when you're pressing those seams. This block has a lot of seams and you want them really flat. Okay, so there's our first quadrant. So now we're going to do the second one. And so we'll look over here at our instructions, and there it is. It's saying we are going to sew this piece right here, the background, to this piece, to the folded corner. So I'm going to line it up, and we're going to sew 1/4 inch right down there. And this one gets pressed to the folded corner piece, so it gets pressed towards this side. Okay, there's that one, and it is pressed towards the cornered piece. Now we're going to take this piece and we're going to sew it to this. So I'm going to flip it over and match it up. And this one, if I get out my instructions, folds up towards the bigger piece when we do that. So I'm going to pin this and take it over to my sewing machine and bring it back. And here is that piece, and it is folded up towards the block. So there's our second quadrant. Now we're going to do the third. So on this one, if I pull out my instructions, it says we're going to sew the corner block to the solid background piece, and we are going to press down towards the solid piece. So right along here and right down here, and this piece, whoops, sorry. So we're going to sew right across there, and this one, because it does start at an angle, I would use a starter piece of fabric if you need to. There we go. Next, we're going to take this piece, this corner piece that points down, and we're going to flip it over, and we're going to sew right along the edge, and this time it is going to we're going to press it, and we're going to push it towards the smaller piece. That is the third quadrant or the lower left, and then the last we have is the lower right, or the last one. So the next one, we're going to take our stem piece. We're going to take our stem piece, and we're going to sew this solid piece right to that. And this one we are going to press towards the solid piece. There is that piece. It's pressed towards the solid block. Okay, and then the last part we need to do is sew this solid to this one, and this gets pressed to the solid. I'm going to line that up. There's no seams to match up on that one, so I'm just going to take it over and sew it. There is that last quadrant, the lower right-hand corner. Now we need to put all of these together to make our block. So we're going to do the top first and then the bottom. So I'm going to take this and line it up and pin it. And then we're going to sew it, and we are going to press it. See, it shows you right here. Those are all your 4 quadrants. We're going to press it towards the smaller piece. Then to save time, I'm going to do this at the same time. I'm going to chain stitch it and sew down that side, and that one we are going to press to the larger piece. When I do this, my pins are over by my sewing machine. You're going to match up or nest any seams that match, and on this one it looks. Okay, there is the top half. Here is the bottom half. This one is pressed towards the smaller piece, and this one is pressed towards the larger piece. Now the final step is we just have to pin those two together. So I'm going to make sure everything's going the right direction. I don't have to unpick anything. It all looks good. And then we're going to just flip this over. We're going to match all of these seams and sew 1/4 inch down. Before I press this last seam, I just kind of like to open it up and look and make sure all of my corners are matching and everything is the way that it needs to be, and it is. So now I can go ahead and press it. And the reason I do that is this block at this point does not get trimmed. It is what it is. So we want to make sure everything is matching as best we can. Once we press this, let's pull out our instructions. We are going to press the seam up towards the top half. So let me go do that. And there is my block. So as you'll notice, there's a couple of pieces that aren't exactly matched up, and that's okay. It's more important that things are matching in the middle, and those little tiny pieces will just be eaten up in the seam. So my suggestion for this is to pick one color and do the 2 blocks in it, but do them separately so that you can do all the steps. You can make the blocks, the kitty corner and the corner blocks and the stem, you know what you're doing, and then put the block together. After you've done 2 separately, then you could go ahead and do the next color and chain stitch them and do all the steps at the same time, if that makes sense. I hope this video and the one prior to it have helped you get these done. Once you really get going on these, they go quickly and you'll get the hang of it. It just takes a block or 2 before you can figure it out. You're 1 down, you've got 9 more to go. Thanks for joining me today.